Let's dive into some conspiracy theories. Welcome to another episode of the origin story of your childhood cartoons. Today we're talking about the top 20 fan theories about cartoons. In this video, we'll explore different ideas about our favorite childhood cartoons and animated movies, whether they make sense or not. Just a warning, this might change how you remember your childhood. Number 20. Economic depression. According to one theory, the original series takes place during a major economic downturn. Times were so tough that even respected figures like celebrities and intellectuals turned to crime just to get by. To avoid getting caught, they disguised themselves as monsters to shift the blame. It might seem far-fetched, but think about all the abandoned buildings and rundown locations featured in the show. Could those have been a reflection of hard times?
Well, the tracks clearly lead into that old mill.
Number 19. Claw is Gadget. This theory flips the cheerful world of Inspector Gadget on its head. It suggests that Dr. Claw is actually the original Inspector Gadget, who supposedly died in an explosion. Out of grief, his genius niece Penny built a robotic version of him to carry on his work. This idea might explain why Gadget always escapes unharmed. Dr. Claw wouldn't hurt his own niece and is focused on destroying his mechanical replacement instead. It could also be the reason why we never see Dr. Claw's face. A wild theory, but it does make you think.
Plan was foolproof, but not gadget-proof.
Number 18. Bill Dauterive is Bobby Hill's father. King of the Hill fans have long noticed something odd about Bobby. He's nothing like his dad, Hank. The personality and physical differences between the two are striking. This has led to a popular theory that Bill, Hank's friend, might actually be Bobby's biological father. Supporters of this idea point to Bobby's resemblance to Bill and the close bond they share. Plus, there's the fact that Hank has a narrow urethra, which doctors initially said would make it impossible for him and Peggy to have children. If true, it would mean the King of the Hill might not rule his own family after all.
I suspected as much when it took you 30 minutes to produce a urine sample.
Hey, you want it done quick or you want it done right?
Hank, please calm down.
Number 17. The Flintstones live in the future. Think the Flintstones are stuck in the Stone Age? This theory flips that idea upside down. Evidence comes from The Jetsons Meet the Flintstones, where Elroy Jetson's time machine malfunctions, bringing the two famous families together. Elroy intended to take his family further into the future, but what if the machine actually worked and sent them back instead? The Jetsons live in the sky, likely avoiding a nuclear wasteland below, a wasteland that could have devolved into another Stone Age. If true, the Flintstones isn't ancient history, but a post-apocalyptic future.
Maybe we've gone so far into the future, the time has started all over again.
I wonder if they know any other words.
Number 16. Nazi propaganda in Tom and Jerry. At first glance, the show seems like simple slapstick fun. Tom the cat tries and hilariously fails to catch Jerry the mouse. But according to one theory, these characters represent nations during World War II. Specifically, Tom symbolizes the British Tommies, and Jerry represents the Germans, or Jerrys. If this is true, the show reflects Nazi Germany constantly outsmarting the British with cunning tactics during the early war years. It's a dark take on what many see as a lighthearted cartoon. Number 15. Peach Creek is Purgatory. Ever wonder why we never see the parents in Ed, and Eddy, or why the kids are always stuck in the cul-de-sac? According to this theory, it's because they're all in purgatory. The idea suggests each character died as a child during different time periods, and the cul-de-sac is their suburban afterlife. For example, Rolf is surrounded by farm animals because he died in 1903. Eddy's obsession with money comes from living during the Great Depression. Ed's love for comic books stems from dying during their boom at the end of World War II. It's a haunting thought. There's no way out of Peach Creek.
There is no exit!
Number 14. Post-traumatic stress disorder in the Donald Duck franchise. We all know Donald Duck has a short temper and tends to go on rants. While many of us just laugh it off as part of his character, some believe his anger could actually be a result of PTSD. The theory suggests Donald developed PTSD from his time as a paratrooper during World War II. Back then, he was often used in military propaganda, including one cartoon where he fights the Japanese alone. That kind of trauma could easily explain his explosive rage. Number 13. Charlie Brown is dying of cancer. You might think Charlie Brown is just an unlucky kid with a bad haircut. But this theory takes a darker turn, suggesting he's actually dying of terminal cancer. According to this idea, Charlie's constant feeling of failure and sadness is because his entire life is just an illusion, a dream created by his mind due to his brief, painful existence. His failures aren't just bad luck, they represent his inner misery. After hearing this, it might be hard to watch a Charlie Brown special without feeling empty inside.
I think I need help. Everything I do turns to failure.
Number 12. Shared Universe, Samurai Jack. Crossovers are always a fan favorite, and when viewers spot hints that their favorite cartoons are connected, they'll dig deep for proof. One theory about Samurai Jack suggests that the time-traveling samurai has been wandering around a post-apocalyptic version of Townsville the whole time. Fans point to similar landmarks seen in both shows as evidence of this connection. There's even another theory that Jack and Professor Utonium from the Powerpuff Girls might be the same person. Time travel theories can really mess with your head, can't they?
Hush now. You just let your Professy Wessy take care of this.
Number 11. Wall-E doomed the planet. Wall-E is a lovable, lonely robot traveling the stars to find his one true love, with a voice that just makes you want to squeeze his metallic cheeks. But here's the twist. According to this theory, Wall-E is actually responsible for the destruction of Earth. The theory suggests that when we first see the planet covered in garbage, it's because Wall-E destroyed all the other robots. He scavenged parts from their bodies to fix himself, kept bits of trash to decorate his home instead of cleaning it up, and left the robot corpses scattered across the wasteland. So, thanks a lot, Wall-E. Number 10. Mr. Crocker's Ulterior Motives. The Fairly Odd Parents. Brace yourselves because this one's pretty dark. Some fans have theorized that Cosmo and Wanda, Timmy's fairy godparents, could actually represent antidepressants. This theory goes even further, suggesting that they are delusions of Timmy's actual deceased godparents. Timmy imagines them as a way to cope with his unhappiness, since his real parents don't care about him, and he has a volatile babysitter. As for Mr. Crocker, his obsession with capturing the fairies might actually represent something much more sinister, sexual advances toward Timmy. Number 9. Sandy Cheeks is a spy. But for who? For the narrator. She has a plan to keep things running smoothly in Bikini Bottom for the narrator's show. The entire show of SpongeBob is actually just a big film production by the narrator and his team, and Sandy is their inside person. Well, inside squirrel. In one episode, a green moon appears and turns everyone into strange, primitive creatures. Sandy starts freaking out and calls the narrator. The narrator picks up the phone while wearing a scuba suit and answers the call. Number 8. Have you ever noticed that every minion wears goggles? It's no surprise since the minions make a lot of mistakes and have poor vision, so they need these special glasses to help serve their master. But how did they get these goggles? Roo, the smartest inventor, could have made them, but in the first Minions movie, we see they already had a version of these goggles when they first arrived on land. So, are the goggles part of the Minions? The answer is no, Because in Despicable Me 2, when Kevin turned into a purple monster, Agnes screamed so loud that the glass in his goggles broke. This shows that the goggles are man-made, or should I say, minion-made. Since the minions had goggles before they had a master, they must have created them themselves. This means the minions invented glasses over 2,000 years before humans claimed to have invented them. Number 7. The Pokémon War. Pokémon may seem like a fun, kid-friendly show about battling creatures, but this theory suggests there's a darker backstory. According to this idea, the lack of parents for characters like Ash and Gary, as well as the presence of so many gym leaders and organized crime groups, is because they're part of a generation born after a devastating war fought with Pokémon. The theory draws on the idea that this war has shaped their world, even though it's never mentioned directly in the show. While this theory fits more with the video games, it raises some interesting questions, like, where is Ash's dad?
You're embarrassing me in front of all these people. Don't you know I'm a big kid now?
Number 6. Timmy's on antidepressants. The Fairly Odd Parents. Here's another twist on the Fairly Odd Parents. What if Timmy Turner's fairy godparents aren't magical beings at all, but a metaphor for him taking antidepressants to help him get through life? The theory suggests that Timmy's godparents only show up when his life is falling apart, but they're absent when things are going well. Additionally, relying too much on their magic seems to cause problems for Timmy, much like how overuse of antidepressants could have negative effects. It's a dark take on a show we all thought was just about wishes and fun. Number 5. Comatose Ash. The Pokémon franchise. This theory takes a darker turn, suggesting that the entire Pokémon world is just a dream inside the mind of a comatose Ash Ketchum. The theory points out that after Ash was struck by lightning in an earlier episode, the tone of the show shifted. Things became lighter, Team Rocket became less threatening, and Ash could wander freely without facing real consequences. The repetition of characters like Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny, along with other oddities, seem to support the idea that Ash's dream of becoming a Pokémon master might just be a dream, and he's actually in a coma, imagining it all. Number 4. The 7 Deadly Sins, SpongeBob SquarePants. Here's an intriguing theory about SpongeBob. Each of the main characters represents one of the 7 deadly sins. SpongeBob himself embodies lust for life, while Pearl has an obsession with males, symbolizing lust as well. Mr. Krabs is all about greed, and Sandy takes great pride in her work, which could relate to pride. Patrick, who is known for being lazy, represents sloth. Both Gary and Mrs. Puff show signs of gluttony. Plankton is envious of the success of the Krusty Krab, and Squidward, as we all know, has plenty of wrath toward SpongeBob. There's also another theory that suggests these sins represent narcotics. It's a wild interpretation of the characters, but it definitely makes you look at the show in a new light. Number 3. Tom never hated Jerry. He didn't want to eat him, hurt him, or even catch him. Tom was just a house cat doing what his owner told him to do. His owner wanted him to get rid of the mouse, so Tom pretended to chase Jerry. But Tom always made sure to fail on purpose so that Jerry could stay safe. He cared about Jerry so much that he'd take punishment from his mean owner just to protect his little friend. On top of that, he dealt with injuries from chasing Jerry and from running into Spike, the dog. If you watch closely, every time Tom almost catches Jerry, Jerry always manages to get away. That's not just luck. Tom made it look that way. Deep down, Tom didn't want to hurt Jerry because Jerry was his only friend. Tom did everything he could to take care of him. Jerry should feel lucky to have a frenemy like Tom. Number 2. There's a big plot hole in the movie. The main goal is for Moana to lift a curse that affects everyone in the ocean. Throughout the movie, every god and demigod says the same thing. To break the curse, a human must step foot on the island. So the whole point of the story is to get Moana to step foot on the island to lift the curse. However, at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, Moana lifts the curse by touching the island with her head. She never actually steps foot on it. This doesn't make sense because the rules of the curse are supposed to be very specific, allowing the gods to manipulate them to their advantage. Number 1. Allegory for the Holocaust. Toy Story 3. The theory surrounding Toy Story 3 suggests that the film is a subtle allegory for the Holocaust. While the movie itself is seen as a heartfelt children's film, the plot includes unsettling parallels to the atrocities of World War II. In the movie, the toys are forced to leave their home, only to end up at Sunnyside Daycare, a place that turns out to be an oppressive and dangerous environment. The toys are mistreated, injured, and dehumanized by Lotso, the villainous bear who runs the daycare. Near the climax, there is a scene where the toys face near death in an incinerator, evoking the horrors of mass extermination. These dark themes, combined with the imagery and treatment of the toys, have led some viewers to draw connections between the film and the Holocaust, making Toy Story 3's darker undertones all the more profound. We've reached the end of another episode of The Origin Story of Your Childhood Cartoons. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know in the comments what you'd like the next episode to cover and what topics you're curious to learn about. Until next time, take care.